Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I bankrupt joined again by Nick and Fluff.
Howdy, howdy.
What up, beautiful people?
And today we got more of the Bardock crew cards, and we're going to kind of go over those. Like always, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them. There's a comment section. Let us know how you're doing today. Starting with the first one in the reveals, which, if I'm in the right, have the right order, Grade 8 Borgos, Saiyan Potential. Permanent, if you have 3 or more energy, this card gains dual attack. Auto once per turn, if it is your turn, when this card is switched to rest mode by one of yours by a skill, switch it to active mode. If it's your active main for 1 yellow energy. If your leader card is Bardock's crew, and there are 4 or more Bardock's crew cards with different card names in your energy, Z energy, battle area, and or drop, play this card from your hand, choose to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. The end. What I like about this card is that it's very cheap to get out, but it's not too powerful. But once you get later in the game, it becomes very strong.
It really synergizes with what this deck is trying to do with the whole tapping of a card so that the leader can then pop it if there already isn't something that the leader can pop. You're able to play these guys pretty easily. Should be fairly non-difficult to get your 4 different cards with different names, giving the amount of search that we see that the deck has access to later in today's reveals. So I'm a big fan. This card fits well into the archetype.
Yeah, I like the fact that it checks pretty much everywhere for Bardock's crew cards to make it work. The whole archetype seems pretty coherent in the fact that you want to run more of the archetype instead of running minimal package with a bunch of good yellow stuff, because that's what we've seen with a lot of the more recent yellow decks is just run as little as possible, but this is kind of the opposite. And I think it works pretty well considering how coherent it is.
A little fun bit is that isn't activate main for the leader's effect, which is pretty good. So if this card's played prior and your opponent plays a card afterwards, you don't really need to do that negate. But what I like about this deck is that it counters its own color. If your opponent plays, say, Mecha Frieza, it doesn't specify what the skill is. It's just if it's switched to rest mode by a skill.
It's to active mode, yeah. Yeah, which is weird. I think was it the Fascia that was revealed last week? I think that one specifically said by your skill. The Torah.
The 3-drop Torah. Yeah, if this card switches to rest mode, your opponent can't attack. Oh, sorry. No, same thing. They're all word this by one of your skills. No, it does says that yes.
Grade 8 Torah says auto if it's your turn when this card is switched to rest mode by one of your skills, switch to active mode.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, this is any skill. I like that.
Rest mode by a skill, yeah. And following that up with Shigesh, real quick, the auto on this one does say if it's your turn when this card switches to rest mode by one of your skills. So I'm wondering if if Borgos will be changed at some point, or if that's intended to be that way. Regardless, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if that's typo or intentional.
I don't think it's to be broken though. I mean, it's good effect. I'd say it's fine where it is.
So Shigesh has the same activate main to play it very cheaply, same conditions, but instead you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and you KO it instead of switching to rest mode. And then we have, if you have 3 more energy, this card gains double strike. Once again, very similar in the style of the other cards, where if you have the energy for it, it's really good. If not, it's just good to bring out to 20k. And if you're playing the right cards, it's going to survive.
These are just straight upgrades from the cards that we got in set 3 that were for yellow Bardock's crew, though I don't think they were tagged Bardock's crew back then. But these are just straight upgrades on those, and I don't think you'll end up using those old ones. You'll probably the build that gets figured out will probably focus more on the apes within the deck.
And keep in mind, these are both 3-drops, which goes well with the one we talked about yesterday, which was Tauros, I think, or Torah.
Torah, it's the grade 8 Bardock.
It's the 4-drop, yes, the 4-drop. Where activate main for 1 yellow energy if your leader is Bardock's crew, and there are 4 more Bardock's crew in all the areas. Play this card from your hand, and then the auto, you have 3 or more yellow energy. When this card is played, you play up to 2 yellow Great Apes. So yeah, so these go really well with the 4-drop Bardock, which is nice. And not just that, their decks, their skills negate it. And what I like about that fact is the next card I want to go over, we got a skillless. And normally skillless are cards we just kind of, it's a skillless, yay, go away. You're playing this initially by playing another card. That right there and alone makes this a powerful 3-drop because it's a 30k as well.
Yeah, I definitely see this being included at probably, my guess would be like a 2 of in the list, like a 2 to 3 of in the list, just to play it off of that Grade 8 Bardock's effect. Mm-hmm. Because having a 30k swing is absolutely nothing to scoff at.
Yeah,
you just can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, it's a great pressure piece, and for 1 energy, why the hell not?
Yeah. Going to the next couple cards that were revealed, we got the 1-drop Torah. It's a counterattack, negate this attack and play this card. Permanent if your leader card is Bardock's Crew. And there are 4 more Bardock's Crew cards with different names in all the areas. He gains 6,000 power. Just for in general, so it makes it 10k. So if you want to play early on, or if you want to negate that attack super early, just kind of give you another card on the board for the awakening purposes, you can. Now you have a 10k swing before your opponent negates, or for your opponent awakens. Cool. But auto, if your leader card's yellow Bardock Crew, and you discard 1 card from your hand, when this card is played from your your opponent can't attack your non-leader cards for the turn unless they choose one of their cards and actively switch it to rest mode each time. So that being said, towards mid game, if you got cards on the board that you want to keep and your opponent tries to get rid of them, you just negate. Now they can't swing at those cards and they're forced to swing at your leader, which sometimes may be a bad thing and other times may be a great thing.
It pairs really well with the Great Ape Torah that says if this card is in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your leader battle cards.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So, you got the Torah out, going ahead and negate with the 1-drop Torah. And then basically your opponent is going to have to clear over the Torah that is already there to be able to get into your leader. So they'll have to discard cards from their hand to be able to get to it.
Yeah, and then their tapping is like a robotic riposte effect, which I think that's a pretty good lock on the opponent. Makes them have to sequence very differently.
It's like a Borgo. Oh my gosh, the Trio of the Danger lock, but not as strong.
Yeah, definitely not as strong.
But still, I mean, that's not a bad play right there. Fascia, I don't know what just happened there. All right, so Fascia has a permanent where if your leader's Bardock Crew and cards in all the areas get 6,000k power or 6k power. Great early on if you want to play a 1-drop for a 10k swing, but the activate means where this card comes in handy. If your leader card is yellow Bardock's Crew and you discard this card from your hand, look up to 5 cards at the top of your deck, add up to 1 yellow Bardock's Crew card with energy cost 4 or less, or 1 yellow Unison with Pacific cost 2 among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. We haven't really seen the Unison for this theme, but I mean, just pitching a card from your hand to search is pretty good.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of searchers that are just discard search. Especially in this archetype where you really want the different card names in the different public areas of the game to satisfy conditions for various effects. So I think this card is really good, and we'll probably see it space at a 4 of in the deck.
The Bardock's Crew archetype, does it have a way to combo from the drop?
I think
so many different ones that do it these days.
So the leader, when this card attacks, use up to 1 yellow Bardock's Crew. This is the awakened side. Use up to 1 yellow Bardock's Crew, 5,000 combo power from your drop and combo with skills negated for turn. On the front side does not have that, but the Z Awaken
does not have
that either. No.
Okay, so I mean, you're still getting that effect off. You're still getting value for discarding it. And the one Unison, like you said, there hasn't been one shown just yet, but the one that comes to mind is the King Vegeta that came out a long time ago. I think it was
one for Great Apes.
Yeah.
Is he Pacific 2?
I believe so.
Okay.
So he's a search target for this, and then you're grabbing any apes that are tons of them in these archetypes. So I think that Unison's going to slot really well with this archetype.
Yeah,
it's very possible.
I couldn't remember if he was a 2 or not. That's why I didn't mention him. But yeah, no, definitely bringing him back would be really well for this deck. And going into the last card that was revealed was Shigesh. the 1-drop, same permanent where it gets a 6,000k boost, but this is one you do want to play if you play this in your deck because it's a cantrip. So if you have nothing else to play turn 1, you play this, you draw a card, you swing at your opponent to lead. There you go.
I think this is going to be the turn 1 play in the deck, most likely. So again, this card will probably see its slot as a 4 of, just to get those different names for satisfying the conditions for playing your effects. So I could absolutely see this guy being ran.
Yeah, I could see this and the fascia just maybe 4-3, 4-2, however you want to split it. But I think the search power is a little more powerful than the straight drawing. But yeah, I can see this getting slotted in very easily.
Those were yesterday's reveals. Hope you all enjoyed. Keep in mind, like I said, there's buttons and stuff down below. Feel free to click them there for a reason. But Fluff, would you lead us out?
Absolutely. What do you think of Bardock's crew so far as it's being revealed? I know that I'm a big fan of it. So let us know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And as always, Fluff out.